Tonight we're opening crates marked Do Not Exist. But first, a quick transmission from tomorrow's flight plan. A pilot flying over Rhode Island reports a small silver canister hovering near the wing, standing still. And ATC responds, "Good luck with the aliens." That's episode 6. But right now, let's talk about the objects already here, the ones that make you lean back and go, "Wait, what?" Space is noisy, not with sound, but with questions. My name is Andrew, and this is Lightseed Radio. I built this little cargo bay at the edge of the universe as a hangar for ideas, the weird shipments that don't fit anywhere else, and tonight's crates are stamped with a label that makes historians itchy and skeptics roll their eyes. Objects out of place. Not proof of aliens, not history is fake, just things that don't sit comfortably inside the story we tell ourselves about what humans could make, when, and how. Some of these objects are real and misunderstood, some are real and genuinely mysterious, and some are myths that survive because they feel true. So we're going to do what we always do here, separate the signal from the story and still keep the wonder. Before we start pulling artifacts out of crates, here are the rules. If an object has a museum record, a chain of custody, and peer-reviewed analysis, we treat it like evidence. If an object has a blurry photo, a viral caption, and a timeline that changes every retelling, we treat it like folklore until proven otherwise. Because OOPArts, or OOPArts, are a perfect trap. They can be real and still be used dishonestly. Tonight is about respecting the weird without getting played by it. Let's start with something you can visit. In Delhi, at the Q-Tub complex, stands an iron pillar about 7 meters tall. That's resisted corrosion for over 1,000 years. If you've spent any time in humid air, you already know why this gets framed as impossible. Iron rusts, it just does. And this is where the story forks. The myth version says alien metallurgy, lost civilization, non-human tech. But the real version is better because it's human. Modern studies point to a specific combination of ancient forging techniques, slag inclusions, and phosphorus-rich chemistry that forms a protective film and dramatically slows corrosion. So is it out of place? Not in the sense of impossible, out of place in the sense that it's a reminder. Ancient people were not stupid. Sometimes the mystery isn't who built it, it's how much capability we forgot to credit them for. Now let's go off-world. People throw around the monolith on the moon, usually with a wink towards 2001: A Space Odyssey. But the most documented monolith story in this lane isn't our moon, it's Phobos, one of Mars's moons. NASA imagery shows enormous boulders on Phobos, including a famous building-sized one that casts a huge shadow. Buzz Aldrin himself publicly called attention to it and used the word monolith not as proof of aliens, but as a "we should go look" moment. And again, you get two stories. The myth version says it's a constructed artifact. The evidence-based version says Phobos is covered in impact debris and a big boulder near a giant crater is exactly what you'd expect. But here's the important part for Lightseed Radio. Even when the monolith is natural, it still functions like a psychological monolith. It shows you how fast the mind flips into pattern-seeking mode the moment a shape looks too clean, too upright, too cinematic. If you've been anywhere near UFO lore, you've heard of the Black Knight satellite, allegedly an ancient alien object in Earth orbit. The story is a classic myth-collage. a bunch of unrelated weirdness stitched together until it feels like one consistent narrative. The smoking gun image most people point to is from Space Shuttle mission STS-88 in 1998. Now that was a mouthful. A strange dark shape floating in space. But NASA catalogued it as space debris, and a widely cited explanation is that it was likely a lost thermal blanket during EVA work. So where does that leave us? Not with nothing. It leaves us with a very honest lesson. Sometimes the artifact isn't alien. Sometimes the artifact is our relationship with uncertainty and how easily mystery expands to fill the gaps between a photo, a story, and our appetite for cosmic meaning. Now let's talk about one of the most legitimate objects that don't belong ever found. The Antikythera mechanism, or Antikythera mechanism, I don't know. Anyway, it's a corroded lump pulled from a shipwreck that turned out to be an ancient Greek device with complex gearing used to model astronomical cycles. This isn't fringe, this is museum-grade reality. And if you want a single artifact that proves advanced technology can appear early, this is the one. Not because it's impossible, but because it forces you to admit that technological progress isn't a straight line. It's a jagged staircase, and sometimes a step shows up centuries earlier than you'd expect. Okay, now the viral stuff. Pieces of clocks found inside stone. Perfect gears embedded in marble, impossible objects from Brazil. Here's a hard truth. Many of these stories collapse because they don't have three things that we need: provenance, custody, and analysis. And the reason they survive is simple. They're the perfect narrative drug. A modern object in ancient stone is a shortcut to a bigger feeling that history is staged, that reality has seams, that something is watching or editing the timeline. So I'm not going to tell you don't enjoy them. I'm going to tell you enjoy them the way you enjoy campfire stories until someone brings the receipts. Here's what OOPArts really are. They're not a single category, they're a spectrum. Real artifacts misunderstood, like the Delhi Iron Pillar. Real artifacts that rewrite timelines, like Antikythera. Natural features mistaken for construction, like monolith talk around Phoros imagery. Myth-collages that feed on ambiguity, like Black Knight. And the reason we're drawn to them is the same reason we're drawn to UFO footage, to NDEs, to code behind reality stories, because they're pressure points. They press on a story we live inside, and sometimes that story flexes. So that's episode 5. Not aliens confirmed, not debunked, but a guided walk through the borderland where human brilliance, natural weirdness, and viral mythology all collide. If you want more episodes where we open the crates carefully and still let the world breathe, hit subscribe, drop your favorite object that doesn't belong in the comments, and I'll add it to the manifest. And next time, we're not talking ancient stone, we're talking about a pilot, a flight near Rhode Island, and a report of a small silver canister hovering above the wing, or beside the wing, followed by ATC saying the line that should not exist in real life. Good luck with aliens. That's episode 6 on Lightseed Radio.